had here, I wanted to look at. I found on Reddit. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh. Oh, maybe that's not the right. Maybe that's not a good one to do right now. What about this one? All right, we've got a dactyl. I think 313. Rainfall LE. Oh. Terran's going for a pretty classic thing. Yeah, I think everything's looking good. No natural. It's not the biggest red flag. We can see from the production tab anyway, but like no natural means he either he's doing one base, but being Terran obviously he can take his CC on the high ground, which we see here. So that's pretty good for him. He's got Marines, so he's going to get rid of this real quick. Oh, we're proxy hatching. Okay. We see the CC. And we see the Marines. It's a fair chunk of Marines. I think this would be dubious at best with what's going on, with what we've seen. Please don't send them in. Yep, good. Now, this is the best time. If this is going to be like for spines, this is when we want to be sending them. Oh, actually, before that, we want to send them about 600 to 700 HP. It takes that long for the drones to cross the map. I'm worried though that this is going to be so late. Is this guy hacking? Like, why has he done this? This is an insane opener, and then into triple CC. This all feels very weird. Don't do it. We're getting link speed, right? Yeah, we're about to have link speed. No, just wait for a split second. Alright, no. The Marines will handle the Zerglings really well, but what they won't handle is the spines, right? So the spines, the Lings are good for pushing the Marines away, but we want the spines like in a dominating position to stop the Marines sort of funneling through, and then the Lings can get surrounds. You'll also be able to cancel this, but what we don't want to do is chase them like that and just hand over free Marines, because this many Marines spells trouble for the Queen, spells trouble for this. Alright, this Terran, luckily for him, floating 1200 minerals already. He's in a great spot, honestly, with everything going on, because we're just pumping Lings. We just pumped a bunch of Lings, even though he's already given up the base. So if this was me, I might even be tempted to cancel these, or drop a Baneling Nest, and try and punch through and completely end the game. We want the spines to kind of pressure the thing if we can. Spore. I mean, like, you could be worried about Banshees or whatever, or Liberators, I guess, but why do it? With what's here, yeah, I don't think this is a good idea for the Lings. I mean, if you did like one good wave of wings after this, and then you bring up the spines to take care of the bunker, I think you get a win here, right? Because he's only got the one SCV, and the one SCV can't out repair all this DPS if it gets on top of him. I think we're making the mistake here of we've got him on one base. Why are we not just droning up into an insane amount? We could be taking a third base here and droning up and getting into 3 bases. We aren't 100% convinced, but this guy's got so much production that he's keen on using. Like, all we'd really need is just Bane speed and some Banes to take care of this on the ground level, or like the couple of spines will work well, and then we could get into like Hydras or Lurkers or something like that. Would make matters even worse for him. Oh, you know what I missed? No, Overlords in here. That's cool. That's Goliath, right? Goliath and a siege tank. So no Overlords here as well, so we're not going to be able to see any kind of thing here, but this is good vision here. I like this. See him moving out here, and we're going to get, thanks to the creep spread, we're going to see him moving out all over here. This is nice to be checking. I just don't understand. The Terran's just massing an army, right? He's not trapped on one base. He can't keep making workers, so he's making army, which is perfectly reasonable. So at some point, you need to get to the stage where you're happy with your army. You're happy with the amount of stuff you've got, and you need to get an army. I think double Evo is a mistake here. There's so many Marines here. This is going to cost us a fortune. Wouldn't even finish these. I think they're just going to die. We did get a Marine for the trouble though. If he pushed across the map, he wins this game right now. 100% he wins this game. Luckily, he's being a nice bloke and he's just cleaning the creep and just wanting to expand. But he's ahead in supply. He's ahead in supply, and his worker numbers weren't that bad, and thanks to the mules, he was probably keeping up in 3cc. Was it 3cc? Yeah, 3cc. Got how many racks? 4 racks? 5 racks. Like, he's pumping units. We've got 2.5 bases saturated now. It's time for us to move into what we actually want to do to kill this. And I think just Ling Bane kills this, but we can't. We don't want to be defensive Ling Bane. I think we want to be aggressive Ling Bane. So while he's out of the map like this, is the perfect time to catch him. I don't know if a Ravager was the best use of resources. Getting 1-1 on the way is really good though. I like it. I think Dactyl's quite a roach heavy player, or he likes the roaches a lot. And he's taking his third. So he's gone from having one base for almost like 7 minutes into having 3 bases 3 minutes later. Supply is even. Terran has no upgrades. And we're getting 2-2. I think all things considered, this is a win besides our army supply. Like, we can't, this army does not fight well versus an insane amount of Marines that he has. And this, oh yeah, here was a little bit of no, that's good. Good fight. Good fight. We have, was it like 16 lava in the bank? We can make a round of links, and then we could have just won this right here and now with the next push. But we're not doing that. We saw the spore come, the dropships coming down here, so it's a good chance for you to uproot this, put that here. So even on his way in, he's going to suffer, because he's probably going to go around this, even though you saw it coming and he saw you saw it coming. Yeah, so the spore here would have changed that. Good stuff here. We knew this was coming, right? This is a failure in like understanding the priority right now, because this is an easy cleanup, right? The spore should have been here, would have caught the first one easily, and probably would have killed this in this time as well. And then we decided we're going to keep moving out because we've got 10 Marines on our side. Should be an easy win. We're making a couple of roaches behind it. awesome bios. Holy shit. How many drones did we lose though? We lost 15 to 12, yeah, no, like it's not a bad position at all. And now the Terran's kind of dead. We have 5 hatcheries going. 66 workers. We should just be able to max out again and do that. Please move this into the corner in the future. An overlord over here as well to catch any drops coming that way would be fantastic. What are we doing? A drop. We're making the game more complicated than it needs to be, which is a problem because we're in a winning position, and if we make it complicated when we're already in a winning position where we could just max out at a move, we run the risk of actually losing the game slowly by actually cutting ourselves slowly up on bad engagements. Like, we don't know that his army's at home either. What if he was like here and pushing, or somehow he'd managed to like get dropships into here and now he's making a beeline for the main base while you're doing this. Nah, we don't want that fight. We don't want that fight. There's nothing in here to kill. So we ended up losing a ton of shit for nothing. He hasn't even got upgrades again. Is the only reason we win this is because this Terran didn't bother to make like, oh no, he's got 1-1 coming. Well, how bad of a fight was that? It looked bad. I'm going a little quicker than normal because I got another one I want to watch. Alright, so we're almost even in the resources lost, right? But you've been ahead for miles. Ahead by a long shot for miles, right? We went from 6-8 versus 6-6. Bio with this many medevacs as well is a problem. With that, these aren't doing bad. But now they're going to get cleaned up real good. Now he lost 1,800 or something like that, but you lost like 2.2 thousand or something. No, way worse than that. 4k. You lost 4k. My maths are going great. You lost 4k, and he lost like slightly less than 2k. 1.8, 1.7. So double trade there. Didn't need to happen. You probably could have just had all the army together and just rolled over him with the maxed out army instead of playing this fancy stuff. We're at 81 drones, which is fantastic. 2:30 APM. Getting all into the late game tech. More drones, even though we're already on 90, right? Or 80. More drones coming. That's fine. I'd love to be moving these around instead of making more drones. I hope that's being saturated. Everything else is saturated. We could be definitely taking more bases. We have him trapped pretty much on 3 bases. If we just had changelings every now and again to keep an eye on him, I think even if he moves out with this, if we just catch him on the move, it's an easy win. Boom. He moves out and catches us mid-map with an army that is actually dog shit versus what he's got. It's literally just a handful of roaches. Is that it? It's a handful of roaches and some corruptors. This is going to be a really bad fight. The 5 broodlords are going to be nice, but we really want to keep him away from that. So what I would want to do is like pull him down here. But again, these 5 broodlords stimmed and A move, they're going to get destroyed. All this gets destroyed. Without banelings, without some splash damage in this, Ling Bane would have done this fine. If the broodlords here, the 5 broodlords and a bunch of corruptors were just literally Ling Bane, this is an easy win. There's like, how many marauders? 7 marauders, but they're tucked in there pretty well. And it's just marines that that don't have siege tanks nearby to focus down the banelings. This would have been an easy win. Roaches, this is why roaches are bad. They just don't fight a good sized bio army well. You're going to hemorrhage all this and kill like a handful of marines. And now that he sees the Broodlords, he either doesn't need to fight them, or if he really wants to, you can just stim around. Ready? Nothing they can do. Nothing they can do. This is what people go, Broodlords are bad. Broodlords are bad. Yeah, they're bad when there's like 50 Marines versus 3 Broodlords. Yeah, of course they are. They're not for this. Okay, they're not built for this. It's like saying Ultralisks are bad when your opponent only has Banshees or something like that, or BCs. Like, yeah, of course, you've made the wrong choice. You kind of just have to live with it. So before we move out, or before he moves out, it's let's just say 10k to 8.3. The Marines don't even have to try, man. They really don't have to try. Before the Broodlords even get involved, we've already lost 4.6k, and the Terrans only lost 1.2. So we're talking like the last 2 fights have almost been like one was a 1 to 1.5 trade, and this one is like a 4 to 1 trade. Terran's floating a ton of money. He didn't give a fuck. If he didn't win the game right now, this would be over anyway. He's not even producing units because he knows that this is the end of the Zerg. The Banes aren't going to get in. Corruptors aren't going to do anything. It's over. It's not over, but funneling in... Like, what do we really expect? Look at the size of this Terran army. They take, what, 15 seconds to do? Yeah, 15 seconds basically to make. And we morphed them, like, when he was half a screen away. And we're just funneling wings in. Are these on move command, or are we actually A-moving? Yeah, we're actually A-moving, but like, we're not even going to get... Did we get the Marauder? We got the Marauder because the Siege Tank helped, and that's it. These aren't going to get anything done. Boom, Siege Tank cleans them up, Siege Tank cleans them up. GG. This is why Roaches aren't a late game army, and that's because they do not fight bio well. They cannot fight bio well. As we saw there, like, Roaches work really well when there's a small amount of bio, maybe a tank or two, and they can just kind of encapsulate it, completely surround it, get on top of it, force the tank to either unsiege and leave, or force the Marines to get up and leave and abandon the tank there, or fight and take mad damage because all the Roaches are getting attacks in. But in a situation like this, a handful of Marines like this is going to be dropping, with stim, it's going to be dropping a Roach like every 2 seconds or something like that, and the Roaches are not going to get their damage done. If this was like a, what was that? We're on 84 drones, and army value is not in our favour at all. Is it really that? It's because the Broodlords haven't finished yet. Like, it will be a lot more soon, but it's not enough. These 5 Broodlords, if these 5 Broodlords were 5 Infestors, which that's how much gas they cost, this is a sweep, right? Because the Terran moves up, boom, you drop a fungal. If they want to commit again, you drop another fungal. If they want to commit again, drop another fungal. There goes like 10, 15 Marines, and suddenly this whole thing isn't so scary, right? But with a handful of that, way easier. The Broodlords do not fight anything here. They literally kill the siege tanks, but this army is so much more complicated than just the siege tanks, and he's even got a Viking as well. This was never going to work. If this was a maxed out Roach army, if this was a completely maxed out Roach army, and the other thing as well is like where we choose to engage. Like, we get a flank on, but like our army's split apart. So I don't know if this is intentional, or they split because we picked the wrong spot for them. Let's have a look. No, they're all A-moving to the same place, and they split, and it was probably too late for us. We didn't even realise. But if this was like 2 full surrounds, great stuff. If we didn't sacrifice this whole army that we did down here into the tanks and bio that were here, and do our little drop that got sweet fuck all done really, then this army, your army, would have been so much more powerful here that this would have been a win. Look at this. 1, 2. He lost 2 Marines. 1, 2 Marines. 3 Marines. Good trade. Yeah, so this fight down here didn't need to happen. Roach doesn't fight well into Marines unless it is getting on top of the Marines and forcing them back into a position where you can get the tanks. Do not run past the Marines to kill the tanks. It's the stupidest idea. I see it way too often. It is bad. It is objectively bad in every single way. The Marines actually do more damage than a single tank, or even 2 tanks, or even 3 tanks. The Marines are the damage dealers here, and the tank is just for show, basically. The tank is to force you into a bad engage, or for me, I like tanks just so they can kill Banes from a distance. I don't like mines because mines don't do the job. Mines, you usually lose the mines in the same fight. So if I go back, oh, my bad. I feel like this would have been a lot better if this was first. This is important, this kind of stuff, right? Because the drop is what takes their attention away. The drop takes their attention away from what's happening down here, and you might actually get them to move back home, which he hasn't yet, right? So the idea would be, if you have vision, you do the drop to get his attention, to get him to move up to here. This is such a ragtag, useless army of random shit. A couple of Banes. Are these slow Banes as well? No, they look slow. They're not moving, that's why they're not rolling. Get him to go back, and then when he abandons this base, look, if he moved all this up into his main, it's literally just a tank here protecting a line of SCVs. Then you come in and you crush this. You chose to take the hard fight first, and then do the distraction, right? It's like, I don't know. It's I can't think of like a really good Zerg analog besides what you've just done for what you've just did. Have the Hydra's got their ranges and stuff? Yeah, that's okay. Wait. No, they haven't got either of their upgrades. Okay. They're coming. Yeah, so this attack here cost us all the momentum in the world that we could have had, and it achieved very little, and that's why we lost this game mainly. Everything else, I think we were far ahead in every respect, especially when he gave up his natural. There's no reason that he should have won this, apart from the fact that we took a goddamn awful fight. So we picked up the 2 roaches, which is cute, but this didn't achieve anything that it needed to achieve, and this should have been the first part. If you watch pro games, you see them, they'll always try and link up. You can even shift queue it half the time. They'll try and link up their distractions or their harass or drops or whatever with another army, and that's what makes it hard, right? Because your opponent has to choose in those moments what to do, but you kind of force fed him, you fed in your army into him, and then the drop happened at the same time, and the drop was such a little threat that it didn't really matter. A Nidus would have been better with just a bunch of lurkers. The lurkers pop out here, the Marines inevitably try and come up the ramp, stuff like that. These are much easier trades to take. This dies to lurkers, this dies to infestors, this dies to Ling Bane. We just made the wrong choice. We went roaches when we didn't need to make roaches. Bada bing, bada boom. Bada bing, bada bang. If you've got replays you want to share, please do. Send them through to omgitsduane@gmail.com, or feel free to find me on Reddit. But yeah, I'll find another one now. Thank you.